Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Elpida Tzortzatos, and I work for IBM. And what we're going to talk about today is AI in regulated industries. What I wanted to do is I want to share with you some of the use cases that we've worked with our clients on and share some of the insights that we have gained from working with clients in the banking and finance and healthcare industries with you today. I know with the advent of ChatGPT, a lot of people are talking about AI. There's a lot of hype out there, but what I'm going to talk about is AI for business. Not AI in the consumer space, but actually AI for business. And if you looked at a lot of enterprises, in the last few years or so, when they look to modernize their applications for hybrid cloud environments, AI was an afterthought. But really, with the advent of ChatGPT, everybody's talking about AI, and now it's not applications plus AI, but it's AI first. And you can see there that the AI business is going to grow up to $130 billion by 2025. But also an interesting statistic that I wanted to share with you from Gartner is that 70 to 80% of AI projects fail. Think about that. And actually, from our experience working with clients, what we've seen is that AI is a team sport. You really got to bring the right SMEs right from the start, not just the data scientists. AI is not about data scientists working on their own silo, developing these beautifully sophisticated models. It's about getting the line of business, talking about where AI can bring value to your business. It's also about bringing the data engineers, the data scientists, the application architects, but also your infrastructure people all together in order to have successful AI projects. So clients who bring all of the SMEs and engage those SMEs right from the start are the ones who usually end up having a successful AI project. As I said earlier, there's a lot of hype in AI. It is very important to be able to identify use cases that have the return on investment and are feasible for AI. Let me talk about AI and the potential for AI and its value in the banking and financial services sector. I know that a lot of you in the banking sector are dealing with fraud, whether it's a credit card fraud or whether it's payment fraud. And if you look at some of the statistics here, you can see that only about 10% of fraud is detected with today's state of the art. And $298 billion of fee revenue is lost in false credit card declines. Now, if you're somebody like myself and you're trying to use your credit card to make a transaction and that transaction gets declined or a couple of your transactions get declined, you tend to put the credit card on the back of your wallet and use a different credit card, right? But that represents a loss of revenue to that credit card bank issuer. Also, when you look at anti-money laundering type of use cases, today, anti-money laundering is plagued by false positives. And if you look there, you see over 90% of anti-money laundering alerts are false positives. What does that mean? If you're a bank, that means that you still have to investigate each and every one of those alerts, which creates a lot of overhead. So there's a lot of opportunity for AI to be leveraged, whether it is for fraud, whether it is for anti-money laundering use cases, whether it is to assess risk, specifically in the financial services and banking sector, and provide great value. And you can see there the potential for savings, right? There's about 140 billion in fraud that occurs that's incurred by U.S. banks alone. And also, 100 million can be saved for tier 1 banks if they were able to actually inspect and apply AI to every transaction, whether those are payment transactions or credit card transactions. The state of the industry today is that enterprises, because of scaling AI challenges and because of the challenges that they have in terms of integrating AI into their core business processes and mission-critical workloads, they about sample 10% of the transactions with AI. But imagine if you had the capability to be able to examine 100% of your transactions. And you can see some of the data there that you can save over 100 million in fraud prevention savings per year if you had the capability to actually apply AI to 100% of your transactions. Now, how many of you are familiar with IBM Z? No, one. Oh, I'm impressed. Actually, if you use your credit card today, if you go to your bank and made a deposit or made a payment, chances are you've used IBM Z. So a lot of you are using IBM Z. We process 800 trillion transactions, financial transactions. That's about 73% of the total transactions in the world on our IBM Z systems. And we are really designed for high volume transactional workloads. A big segment of our clients are in the banking and financial spaces, but we're as well as in the retail and healthcare industry and insurance industry. Really, the world's economies run on our IBM Z systems. So what we've done from an AI perspective, we built a server and an infrastructure that would enable our clients to run AI and apply AI to your applications without slowing down your applications, to your mission critical workloads, and being able to actually embed AI in real time and get the response time and the throughput and the scale that you need in order to deliver on your SLAs. So AI is not only about developing the sophisticated AI models that data scientists work on, but it's also about having the capability to operationalize AI, and enterprises really gain the value from their AI investments, where they're able to take those models and deploy them in the enterprise workloads while still being able to meet their SLAs and not impact their SLAs. So what we've designed on IBM Z to help clients address those challenges is an AI accelerator that's embedded, and it is integrated on our chips, on our servers, that allow us to process 3.5 million inference deep learning requests per second. Think about that for a minute. So our clients now have the ability in real time, whether you're making a credit card transaction, to be able to leverage state-of-the-art AI, deep learning, and as well as machine learning, and now foundation models, to be able to detect whether a credit card transaction is fraudulent or not. In addition to that, we've run several benchmarks, and I'm not going to go over the statistics there due to time, but you can see there that we can deliver 20 times lower response time and 19 times higher throughput versus the competition. In addition, we've actually delivered a green accelerator, if you will. From a sustainability perspective, it is also very important to us that not only we deliver the AI acceleration that our clients need in order to scale and meet their SLA demands, but our accelerator adds about 7 to 10 watts on the silicon, where you compare that to other accelerators are in the 300 to 700 watt range. And I know that's important for a lot of our clients, especially clients in Europe that have seen the energy costs drastically increase recently. Now, I wanted to spend most of the time that I have up here really talking to you about actual client use cases. We've worked with one of the largest banks in the US to help them with their credit card fraud detection. They have a credit card fraud application that used to determine whether a credit card was fraudulent or not based on static business rules, and they wanted to augment that process with AI. When they initially tried to do that, what they saw was, because of their architecture, they were getting inconsistent response times, frequent timeouts. Many times they have to let the transaction complete without the benefit of AI, because that model result or that model prediction will not come in time before the transaction timed out. They worked with us at IBM on our IBM Z systems, and because of the scale and the capability our AI accelerator was able to provide, and because of the fact that we minimize data movement, that is, their data that was input to that model or the model itself didn't need to move from the host server memory to the accelerator memory, and that really gave them the response times that they needed, which were 1 millisecond response times, as well as the capability now to be able to apply AI to 100% of their transactions. And as a result of that, they told us that they saved over $20 million annually in fraud prevention savings. But in addition to that, they said, we had a lot of false credit card declines. Now, with embedding real-time AI within our credit card transactional authorization process, we're able to reduce the false credit card declines and therefore have a very positive impact to our revenue. They were so happy with this architecture and the AI, the robust AI infrastructure that our IBM Z platform provide, that they implemented the same process for the debit card transactions. We also worked with one of the biggest credit card companies in the world on a clearing and settlement use case where they had a batch job that was settling a lot of these transactions, and their AI team had developed a very sophisticated deep learning model, actually was an assemble of machine learning and deep learning models, and they wanted to apply that model to the batch workload, but without elongating the batch window or extending the batch window. Again, they asked us for help, and by the way, they used TensorFlow and TensorFlow serving to deploy this model. And as you can imagine, global credit card companies actually process thousands of transactions per second. In their case, was about 80,000 transactions per second that they wanted to process in this batch job and achieve that throughput. And again, working with us, they were able to do that. When you talk about automation in core business processes, you can see there I have a loan approval process where we work with a Canadian bank to actually help them automate the loan approval process. And again, they are leveraging some of the AI technologies, our AI infrastructure and AI stack, that were able to do that very quickly. What they told us about in our use case was that usually when people buy cars, the car dealers, ask banks whether that car buyer is approved or not, and the bank that gives them the answer the quickest is usually the bank that gets the business. So it was really, really important to them that they leverage AI to actually assess the risk and quickly reject or approve that loan applicant in this car buying process here. And claims fraud, right? We're working with a lot of both governmental agencies, but also private health insurance companies around applying AI for detecting fraud in claims. Now, it's not only about financial data and tabular data, but our technology, our infrastructure, and our robust AI ecosystem supports a variety of use cases across many, many different industries. And you can see here at the bottom left that we're also working with one of the biggest private insurance companies here in the US to help them actually scan medical images to help their clinicians provide better diagnosis for their patients. And again, here, what they've done on our systems, that we're able to consolidate their machine learning workload, and that we're able to use a lot less, as you can see, cores compared to running the same machine learning workload on x86. We're also leveraging AI to actually automatically detect private and sensitive data, both in memory as well as dumps, and being able to ensure our clients that when they send files or memory dumps to third-party vendors for diagnostics, that those dumps or files do not contain any PII or sensitive data. So you can see here a feel for actual real-world use cases. And one thing I want to highlight here is you hear a lot about generative AI and foundation models, but traditional AI is not going to go away, especially for these types of use cases. Sometimes traditional AI provides better accuracy than some of those foundation models. So what I see from an enterprise perspective, especially for the use cases that I just talked about, is foundation models and traditional AI will come together. Now, from an AI perspective, it's really very, very important that you put an AI governance in place and you employ AI that's trustworthy and dependable. And from an AI governance perspective, the really 5 pillars that are important is deploying AI that's explainable, being able to explain those model-driven decisions. If whether you approve a loan applicant or not, you want to actually explain to regulators and auditors that that decision wasn't based on bias. So having AI governance around AI that you embed in your mission-critical workloads is very, very important. Explainability, transparency, robustness, as well as data privacy. You want to make sure your AI is robust, that there's no data leakage, that malicious actors can provide input into your models that would change those model behavior, or with all that will leak data private information that was used to train that model. So again, this AI governance is very, very important, and trustworthy AI is very, very important, and considerations about explainability of AI models, transparency. Do you know what data sets were used, what training data set you used to train that model? Do you know how that model works is important, as well as robustness and data privacy, as I said earlier, as well as more model fairness and mitigating bias. Now, in IBM, we've made announcements around watsonx, I think in May of this year, where we provide a platform. It is important for you as you train and fine-tune these models. We're not just providing AI capabilities and APIs, but actually a platform that allows you to bring your own models, train your own models, fine-tune your own models, also take pre-trained models that were trained on data that has been cleansed and filtered for bias and toxicity and profanity, as well as own your own IP and those models that you fine-tune. If you're taking a pre-trained model and you're fine-tuning it to actually customize that model for your business and adapt that model for your business, you can keep your IP and know that your data as well as your model is protected, right? So it's not just about using APIs and capabilities, but having the ability to fine-tune and do the inference on your own systems and ensure that both your IP and your data are protected. And there's 3 components to watsonx.ai: the platform, the studio that allows you to actually train and fine-tune and serve your models, and then data, where we have a lot of tooling in watsonx.data to allow you to filter your training data for profanity, as I said, and toxicity, and to duplicate that data and make sure that you have good data quality. And then the governance, how you monitor your models for transparency, for bias, for robustness when they're deployed in real work environments. And then again, here on our platform, as I said earlier, you get to keep your data, you get to keep your IP, you get to keep the value that you create by fine-tuning models. And you can see here, over 75% of CIOs and executives have told us that they want to be able to do their own fine-tuning for AI governance and have control over their IP and the value they create with AI. So from an IBM perspective, we're open, meaning the models that we provide to our clients that are pre-trained are open, and you get to know what those models were trained on, but also how they work. They're trusted in terms of providing the capabilities and the tooling that allow you to monitor those models for bias, for fairness, for explainability, and obviously we're targeting enterprises and not the consumer space. And it's all about empowering you and your business to create value that you have complete control over. And again, you can engage with us if you're interested. On this last chart, there's a lot of links where you can feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in terms of leveraging AI in the banking and financial services space, as well as in health insurance space, in any type of regulated industries where it's not just about deploying AI, but thinking about the AI governance around AI to make sure that your IP and your data are protected. And thank you for your time.